everyone, welcome or welcome back to my Sex and the City rewatch party. My name is Kasia, and today I will dive deep into possibly the best SATC episode ever, where there's smoke. In this episode, there is no Mr. Big Drama, all the ladies are more or less single, and they just have a fun girls' night out. Carrie meets Roger Sterling from Mad Men, Bill Kelley, the politician. Samantha sleeps with Ricky, the firefighter. Charlotte dates a white knight with anger management issues. And Miranda gets an eye surgery. So let's get into it. Just to give you a little perspective on where we are in the show, in the previous episode, Miranda and Steve had a little reunion. Charlotte resumed her search for a future husband, and Carrie said her goodbyes to Mr. Big. So now she's back to being single and fabulous, and therefore she takes the ladies to the fireman calendar competition on Staten Island. And let me tell you, the moment I hear the first notes of Donna Summer hot stuff, I just can't help but smile. This whole fireman competition sequence is so campy and funny. The audience goes crazy. The way those contestants are stripping and dancing is so awkward and spot on. Miranda and Samantha are true comedy queens, and their puns just get better and better. But what I really love about this episode though is that there is none of that Manhattan is the greatest place in the world bullshit. Do you guys remember when in season 2 Miranda went on a blind date with a guy who didn't leave Manhattan in 10 years?
Everything you want is right here. Culture, food, the park. There is no world outside Manhattan.
Well, it oftentimes feels like the writers of Sex and the City had similar thoughts, because whenever the squad goes on a trip outside the island and they find themselves in a place that is just different from what they know, they do nothing but complain about it. In LA, people drink green tea instead of cosmopolitans for lunch, and smoking is forbidden everywhere. Aiden's countryside cabin? My god, horrible place. One can't wear stilettos there, and there's like nothing to do, and it's like quiet at night. Paris? People speak French instead of English, and it's like difficult to understand them, and so on and so on and so on. Even Miranda moving to Brooklyn was treated as a social suicide and banishment from paradise. But this episode is different. It humanizes the ladies a little bit, because I'm sure that they could easily afford to split a cab for 4 from Manhattan to Staten Island, but they took that public ferry instead, which isn't the most glamorous way of transit. I mean, it's fine, it's a ferry, but it's not like a VIP yacht or something. And once they get to that club on Staten Island, Miranda acknowledges that people around them are different from their inner circle, but they're all fine with it. And the bar doesn't serve cosmopolitans? Okay, so they just drink the infamous Staten Island iced teas, and they just have so much fun. Charlotte gets drunk, she's feeling herself, she's in the moment, and she doesn't think about the consequences. And by the way, this is what I mean when I say I'm a Charlotte. This is me in the club. Dead sober. Miranda is being silly and she dances like a robot. Carrie has a whistle, which always cracks me up, and she wears those crazy gold leather boots. I'm assuming she borrowed them from Samantha, as she's our gold leather queen. And speaking about Samantha, in Amy Sean's book, Sex and the City Kiss and Tell, I read that apparently at the beginning of each season, Samantha's look paid homage to a different style icon like John Collins and Kim Novak, and I can definitely see that in this episode. Her makeup and hair make her look like Marilyn Monroe. She looks stunning, she's confident, and so she decides to flirt with Ricky, one of the contestants. And did you know that Mike Lombardi, who played Ricky, actually was a real fireman at the time? And get this, he even was featured in one of those real fireman calendars, which initially inspired Michael Patrick King to write, quote, "the character of a dumb fireman who was really hot but really sweet," end quote. Meanwhile, Carrie meets Bill Kelley, a divorced politician played by John Slattery. Now, I've only seen John Slattery in Sex and the City and Mad Men. Actually, no, that's a lie. I've watched a couple of films he starred in, but I just don't remember him in any of those roles. So maybe he does know how to play different characters, question mark, question mark. Although I am assuming that he as a person is pretty mischievous yet charming and charismatic, and he basically plays himself, because I am convinced that Bill Kelley and Roger Sterling are literally the same guy. Especially if you've watched Mad Men, it makes so much sense for Roger Sterling to be like, yep, I'm gonna get into politics all of a sudden. Anyway, Carrie doesn't reciprocate Bill's advances. I mean, at least at the beginning she doesn't, but she does reveal that she never voted before. Maybe some of you could comment on this, as 20 years ago I was a child. However, I do think that back then being apolitical was more socially acceptable than it is now. I might be wrong. Obviously, it's great it's no longer the case, and Carrie not voting is giving Daphne from White Lotus season 2.
I voted, didn't I?
I don't think you did.
I think I did. I did.
While Samantha is having a swell time with Ricky, Miranda and Carrie try to safely bring drunk Charlotte home.
If she falls over, I will never stop laughing.
Gets me every time. But on the next day, the ladies meet for a brunch, and this is when they have that White Knight rescue fantasy discussion, to which Charlotte says,
I've been dating since I was 15. I'm exhausted. Where is he?
Believe it or not, this used to be one of the biggest SATC lines. It was pretty much on the same level as Samantha saying she's a trisexual. Even back then, Kristen Davis said, the reaction to that line continues to amaze me. People tell me it's their favorite line of the whole series. I remember thinking that I hadn't done it the way I wanted, which is generally how it works. I did not expect so many people to connect to it the way they did. So what do you guys think? Are we still connecting deeply with this line? Or maybe the times have changed. We have rescued ourselves and now we mostly relate to my hair hurts after a crazy night out. I know I do. Okay, just to speed it up a little, Miranda has a pre-eye surgery consultation when she's informed that someone needs to pick her up after the procedure. She asks Carrie for help, but apparently Carrie has a column deadline. And I'm sorry, but Miranda has 2 more best friends, so why she didn't ask Samantha or Charlotte? I mean, I know why, because the writers needed Steve to show up, but it is pretty lazily written, let's be honest. However, I do love that Miranda puts next to her bed an emergency phone number for her doctor, as one should, and a number to Shanghai Garden, an Asian restaurant she actually orders food later in the season.
Shanghai Garden, may I help you? Hi, yeah, I'd like to order some takeout.
After the surgery, Steve shows up to help her to get home. Miranda is on some heavy tranquilizers and she's just so funny. Even Steve giggles at her.
And for the first time in her life, saw things clearly.
My God, Carrie, you think your writing is so clever. I can't. Meanwhile, Charlotte is being picked by a guy named J.J. Mitchells, who actually returns in season 4 as a columnist Samantha knows. I love when that happens, when those minor characters keep reappearing. It makes the shows in the world so cohesive, but Charlotte decides to go out with Arthur instead because, according to Charlotte, he doesn't say stuff like sweet lips, which I find very funny. Unfortunately for her, Arthur turns out to be a rich guy with serious anger management issues, or as Carrie puts it, a white knight who turned out to be a white nightmare. Samantha, on the other hand, visits Ricky at his station. She's wearing the spring 2000 leopard print Nicole Miller dress and this massive fur-trimmed blue coat. And now I'm thinking that maybe this is a look that was supposed to be a nod to Joan Collins and her fabulous furs from Dynasty. Anyone knows? She looks so out of place. There are those moments in Sex and the City where the ladies are being hit with reality are always so good, like Samantha and Carrie on a cross-country train when they thought it's going to be a glamorous Orient Express type of experience, and it turned out to be just a regular train ride. Same situation here. So Samantha is basically like, right, if I want to fulfill my fireman fantasy, I have to do something. And I'm sorry, but I can't play the rest. We have to stop here. But suffice to say that this scene that has to be censored almost cost Mike Lombardi his job. As I mentioned before, the guy who plays Ricky, Mike Lombardi, was a real fireman, and he did get permission from the New York City Fire Department to star in the show, but maybe they didn't read the script that thoroughly. All I know is that the scene got him into real trouble, and there are multiple articles about the situation. And last but not least, let's talk about Carrie and Bill Kelley, who stalks her to her apartment. Another stalker, but also Carrie tells random people her home address, so don't be like Carrie.
I took the liberty of filling out your name. Under occupation, I put heartbreaker. I really did, look.
I'm sorry, but this is such a Roger Sterling thing to say.
Remember, Don, when God closes a door, he opens a dress.
Also, he is such an odd Carrie's boyfriend. Usually, she has 3 types of boyfriends: episodal flames, half-season partners, and big loves, which extend over the period of couple of seasons. But Bill is in the show for only 2 episodes, so what's up with that? Bill invites Carrie to a fundraiser party? I don't know. She has her doubts. She's afraid of trusting someone again because Big has hurt her so much. But eventually she goes again to Staten Island, and she looks just so beautiful alone on the ferry. Like, this entire episode, Carrie looks just so stunning. I think it's the tan mixed with her blonde curly hair. And then they hook up in the closet. Classy.
I lost my Jew!
What an iconic line. Carrie is having her prime Cinderella moment. Firstly, she had to leave the party because it was almost midnight. Then she missed the last ferry and dropped a shoe. But because she's Carrie Bradshaw, she didn't lose any shoe, but a Jimmy Choo heel. And by the way, this is the exact same shoe she dropped after her first date with the French architect in season 1. Thanks for noticing. Now, with this episode's fairy tale theme and the abundance of ballet music playing in the background, I am guessing, however, this could be a wild guess, that this Carrie look is meant to pay homage to Swan Lake. Now, is Carrie Bradshaw the original ballet core girlie? Yes, I think so. Plus, Sarah Jessica Parker has taken many ballet classes in her life, and she actually casually does a tourgette in the first season of Sex and the City in heels. The Jimmy Choo heels are embellished with white feathers, and this ginormous Comme des Garçons Spring 2000 ruffle coat literally makes her look like an actual swan, and I'm here for it. It's giving Simone Rocha Autumn Winter 2022, and it references ballet much better than Miu Miu satin flats and wrapped cardigans, but yeah, this could be my wild fashion theory, but is it wild though? Is it really? Like, look, she's on the water, she looks like a swan princess, the ballet music is playing, like... Okay, tell me in the comments what you think. Am I going insane or am I right? And as always, thank you so much for watching, subscribing, and commenting. I really love reading your comments. They make me really happy. So, bye guys!